and I hope you're having a good morning so far.
I am. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Yes, thank you for saying yes. Now, I have a couple of titles that you've worked on and one that's on the way that I'll mention here at the beginning. And I'll also say that one of the things that you do that I really enjoy is both creating for kind of the middle grades audience. I was a middle school teacher for 8 years, and so I have an affection for that age group. But you also weave in sort of paranormal or science fiction elements. There's always some kind of interesting what if or twist to your stories that I enjoy. And a couple of those are the poltergeist problem, Welcome to Dweeb Club, and Double the Danger as well.
Mhm.
And I know you have Mind Over Monsters on the way in July. That's
Correct.
scheduled for this summer. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So curious about the author history. What connected you to writing, creating, sharing stories?
Um, when I was a kid in elementary school, I went from one elementary school, which was very much, desks in a row, everyone eyes forward, to an elementary school where it was basically a free for all. I mean, they were doing team teaching and we were pushing our desks into the coat room and we could pretty much do whatever we want. And I really took advantage of that. And I liked to write and draw, and I would write plays, and the kids would perform them. And the teachers basically let us get away with this. And it was really good for me, except in terms of math skills. I got to junior high and had no idea how to do basic math. So
Mhm.
that was a backdrop. But otherwise, it was a really good way to make me feel good about my ability to write and tell a story and make people laugh.
Nice, nice. Yeah. As a teacher, I relate to that a lot. And as somebody that also needed to work on their math skills later on, I also relate to that part of the story.
Well, calculators came in really handy, so
Oh, yes.
I
Yeah.
survived.
Yeah. Now, as you're creating stories, I know there's lots of creativity that comes in, and of course, nice for a middle grade audience, but also there's some flexibility there with like upper elementary and beyond. Is there a particular idea or a series of questions or anything like that that you want to impart through your work?
My basic goal in my work is to make kids laugh. I mean, it's meant to be humor, and anything else
Yeah.
that kind of gets in there is it's not by accident, but if the reader takes away something about forgiveness or asking for help or something, well, that's their business. They can
Love
if
it.
they want to, but I'm very happy just to have made them laugh, because I feel like there's a lot out there for kids that's pretty serious and takes on some heavy stuff, and that's really important. And I'm really glad that's available. But A, I can't do that, and B, I just want them to have something if they want to just lighten up and read something before bed and then just not have bad dreams. That's basically my goal.
I love that. Love that focus on joy. Love that. Yeah. Yeah. We read to enjoy, to learn, and to do all the things. So I appreciate that very much.
Frivolous, lighthearted.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, as I mentioned, you have Mind Over Monsters coming this summer. Anything that you'd like to share to sort of glimpse what readers have in store for that book?
Mind Over Monsters, if you go in order with my books, starting with Double the Danger and kind of moving up, you get more and more paranormal. And Mind Over Monsters pretty much has the most, because we actually have kids bringing their own fears to life in sort of the form in which the kids imagine them. So
Hmm.
fear of the dark is like a growing blob of just kind of goopy darkness, that you can't really whack or scare or get rid of. So they have to be sort of creative in how they deal with it. And then fear of public speaking is like this giant monster, like with terrible blushing and cringing and a literally tied tongue and all of that. So it's it's sort of silly, but it also it's sort of personal for me because I was an anxious person. I was an anxious kid growing up. I still am. And so I think in my author's note, I called this not the book of my heart, but the book of my stomach, because
Mm-hmm.
that's where the nerves went. And so I wanted to show kids that most people are a lot more nervous than you think they are,
Hmm.
and that sort of being straightforward about it and admitting it is better than trying to sort of cover it up or power through it.
Yeah.
So the kids in the book are all free to admit to each other and themselves that they have this problem with anxiety, and they're working with this meditation app that's supposed to help them relax. And in the beginning, it sort of does, but because of strange things involved in the making of the app, it starts to bring their fears to life when they all concentrate on one fear.
Hmm.
So the
Hmm.
more kids are thinking about the same fear, the sort of worse the fear is when it comes to life, which culminates in a huge battle in the auditorium with on the day of picture day, shall we say.
Nice, nice. And nice use of the social media algorithm as well with a meditation app creating, you know.
Yeah, I try to stay current.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, I also love that idea of kind of going more paranormal as you go. Is that just something that's kind of happening naturally, or are you just kind of enjoying that part of it each time around that you start a new manuscript?
That's an interesting question. I think it's probably a little bit of both. I grew up reading fantasies. I still read fantasy. I love it. I love paranormal. So it it started to creep in there, and then it just became more and more. And I realized I could get away with it. No one was complaining and saying, there are actual ghosts in this book. Don't do that. It was fine. So
Yeah.
the weird thing is all the books are sort of set in the same universe, but some kids experience ghosts and other kids experience, monsters coming to life, and some, kind of breeze by with nothing happening. And I kind of enjoy that. Like it depends what school you go to, what weird thing might happen to you, but the school that you're in might play the team from another school that where the kids saw their future. So
Hmm.
I try to keep it all in the family and sort of impart the idea that anything can happen.
Love that. Love that. Well, anything that you're currently working on? Are you currently at work on the next entry and exploring the paranormal? That tends to
I
be one of
am.
the final questions. Yeah.
Yeah, the one I'm working on now, it it sort of talks to the others in a way because the kid who's the narrator is very much scientific, hard headed. There's no such thing. Everything is explainable. And
Hmm.
she finds herself in this situation where she's spending the summer with some eccentric aunts, which is a trope that I love in middle grade. The summer of being away with strange relatives. And the strange relatives have read all those books. And
Hmm.
so they're trying to give her a summer full of magic to kind of make up for the fact that she's not doing what she wants to do. So they're basically they've hired another kid in the neighborhood to sort of trick her into thinking that magical things are happening, and she's not having it. And she keeps seeing through all this stuff, and she eventually, finds the kid in the act.
Yeah.
And what happens is she then bumps up against something that neither of them can explain. And that's when things start to go sideways.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, looking forward to Mind Over Monsters. Looking forward to the next entry. Anywhere online or in person where readers can connect with you that you'd like to mention before we close?
Always my website, which is currently not quite up to date, but there's a place where you can get in touch with me, and I love to hear from readers. I also get letters from readers especially when I've done visits with their schools. They send me the teacher sort of puts together a package of letters, and they ask questions, and I try to answer them. And some of them are hilarious. And on my website, there's this little acknowledgement about how when I grew up, and even now, I dislike cheese intensely.
Hmm.
And every time I talk to kids and they've seen the website, that is what they want to talk about. They want to talk about the cheese.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, if anyone has questions about me or my relationship to cheese, the website, BetsyUhrig.com, is the place to go. I'm also on Twitter for teachers. I don't think kids do Twitter much, but teachers can connect with me there as well. I like to give away books.
Awesome. Yes, and teachers always appreciate that. I know I'm always looking to add books to my collection, so I appreciate what you're doing for teachers, young readers, and thank you for the time, Betsy. I appreciate that as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Glad to talk anytime.